site, but it's only going to record me. It's not going to record any of you guys, so feel free to turn your videos on and off. I am going to mute everybody so that we can listen to our own music. I put a link to the playlist in the chat if you wanted to use that, or you could listen to whatever you'd like. Make sure you have your candle nearby if you're participating in the candlelight portion of class, and water, towel, anything that you'd like for that. I'm going to read the Campus Rec waiver that we're starting our classes with. So in order to make these classes as freely accessible as possible to our participants, we'll be using a verbal warning and assumption of risk at the beginning of the class. Participation in this online class is voluntary. Physical activity programs may result in injury, and by participating, you assume the risk of injury that may result from your participation. We strongly recommend that you participate from a space that is suitable for this activity. For example, make sure that you've moved nearby furniture and other potential hazards. If you're participating in a yoga class like this one, or one that involves laying on the ground, we recommend using a mat, or if you don't have one, a carpeted area. Participants are encouraged to stop if they experience pain or injury and should seek appropriate medical advice or care as needed. William & Mary Health and Wellness strongly recommends that each participant have an annual physical examination and follow the advice of your healthcare provider before participating. And that's the only clinical part of this entire class, I promise. So if you want, you can go ahead and click play on the start of my playlist or your own playlist, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. So we're gonna start seated today on your mat, however that is most comfortable for you. So you can sit cross-legged, or you can sit with your legs extended out in front of you or out to the side, whatever works best for you. And maybe your eyes come to a soft close, or you find a gentle gaze on something in front of you in the room. And we're gonna begin our class the way we always begin class, by bringing that awareness to our breath. Just inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. We're not changing our breath yet. We're definitely not judging it for how it feels. We're just noticing it. As with all of my classes, my words are merely suggestions. They're not mandates. I hope that this is the space where you're going to put yourself first. And so I'd like you to go where your body would like to go today. We're going to be incorporating some yin into our flow. Yin is the counterpart to our yang yoga. And it's where we're going to get a little bit deeper in the muscles. We're getting into the connective tissues, the ligaments, the joints, the fascia. And so we're going to be holding a couple poses for a little bit longer than we usually do. And we're going to be using our breath to help us extend our time and find stillness in those postures. So we're going to start back again, focusing on our breath. On your next inhale, I want you to let the spine grow tall, crown of the head reaches toward the ceiling. On your exhale, the shoulders come down and out from the ears. You can put the hands behind the body or to the side to help support the posture. If the back feels a little uncomfortable trying to stay up straight on its own, that's okay. But try to use your breath to soften the body. Notice if you can breathe into the lower abdomen and expand it, and exhale, feel it come back to where it began. Very gently beginning to notice the length of your inhales and exhales in particular. Taking the time to notice if maybe it feels more natural for one or the other to be longer. That's okay. But after you've noticed this about your breath, maybe you can begin to move towards an even breath cycle, where the length of your inhales matches the length of your exhales. use this even breath to take a mental body scan and relax the spots that are holding tension. Find the spots in the body that already feel they have a little tension or a little fire or a little stress in them. Notice if you can direct your even breath to them. Try to breathe through them. On your journey through the body, you're also going to find places that feel great or don't feel anything in particular. Not bad, not particularly good, just kind of even. Celebrate those spots as well. You have the option to continue with this breath. Or if you'd like to join me in my alternate nostril breathing, you can feel free to do that. We call this Nadi Sodhana. You're just going to take your right hand, palm facing out, and I want you to curl your index finger and your middle finger in towards the palm. You're going to gently place that right thumb and block off the right nostril. Inhale through the left. Block off the left, open the right, exhale through the right. Inhale through the right, block off the right, open the left, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left, gently close, open the right, exhale through the right. Inhale through the right and close. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left and close. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right and close. And exhale through the left. Come back to your normal breath now. Nadi Sodhana is a wonderful way to feel like we're balancing the sides of the body. But it can also cause the brain to sort of freak out a little bit or feel like you're breathing in less air. It's okay if it felt uncomfortable or unnatural when you tried it. Maybe you try it again on your own or at the end of our class. And you notice if maybe sticking with it can help it become a little more normal to the body. This even breath, our goal is to sustain it throughout class today. If you'd like to set an intention for your practice today, I'd invite you to do that now. An intention could be a mantra, it could be the reason you stepped onto your mat today, but it's where you're going to draw some energy, some focus, some stillness from throughout class. Whatever that thing is for you, if you're setting one, take a deep inhale through the nose into it and an even exhale through the nose. And another deep inhale and an evenly deep exhale. Maybe our eyes stay closed. We just begin to roll the wrists out a little bit or tap each fingertip to the thumb and back again. We can inhale and gently hover that right ear over that right shoulder, not shrugging the shoulders up to meet the ear, keeping the shoulder exactly where it's at. Inhaling that nose back towards center. Take a full breath cycle here before maybe the left ear comes to hover over the left shoulder. Small movements. If we're making circles with the wrists, let's reverse the direction. Inhaling that nose back towards center. Full breath cycle. And maybe you turn and look to the right. So your chin comes to hover over that right shoulder. We're still keeping that space between the shoulder and the chin. Inhaling the nose back towards center. Take a full breath cycle. On your next inhale, maybe you look toward the left and hover the chin over the left shoulder. Inhaling back towards center. Maybe very gently blinking the eyes open. And however is most comfortable for you to come to your hands and your knees in a tabletop position, that's where we're going to start today. We're going to do most of our yin postures in the very beginning of class. So we're going to start with our Sphinx and our seal. You'll know that you're in your very best tabletop position when your wrists are stacked underneath your shoulders, your knees are stacked underneath your hips. If you take a peek through your legs, you shouldn't be able to see your feet. And I just want you to take 3 rounds of cat and cow here. On your inhale, the belly button droops down towards the mat, maybe the toes tuck. On your exhale, you're going to flatten the feet and you're going to push the ground away like a string is pulling the belly button up towards the ceiling. And again, inhaling, that belly button comes down. Exhaling, the navel comes up. One more time. Inhaling it down. Exhaling it up. And come back to your neutral spine. Spread those fingertips wide wherever they're at on your mat. Press into the fingertips as on an inhale, we're going to tuck our toes. Exhale, very slowly lift the hips up and back for our first downward dog of class. Be very kind to the body. Take your dog for a long walk, bending one knee and then the other. It's okay if this doesn't feel particularly comfortable to your body or it feels a little stiff. That's all okay. Coming back to stillness in this downward dog, I want you to inhale, the gaze moves in between the hands. On your exhale, you're going to roll the body forward into your plank position to meet them. Let's bring the knees to the ground, untuck the toes, keeping the elbows as close to the body as we can. We're going to lower all the way down until we can rest our forehead on the mat. Now I want you to spread your feet out behind you a little bit wider than where they normally are. And then I want you to take a peek and look at that left hand where it's at on your mat. It's right underneath your left shoulder. And I want you to replace that left hand with your left elbow. And you're going to do the same on the other side. So you're going to look at your right hand and replace your right hand with your right elbow underneath the shoulder. So in the end, your elbows are underneath your shoulders exactly. So we've made a 90-degree with our arms. Our gaze is forward. And we're coming to our Sphinx. So from here, this is a pretty acute back bend. So it's okay if it starts to feel it in your back. But we're gonna find stillness here. And I want you to do that by focusing on your breath, maybe looking at that candle if it's at the top of your mat. And trying to find comfort in stillness. So keeping those elbows where they're at, right underneath the shoulders. The gaze is lifted like we're a Sphinx. We're looking forward directly. And I want you to focus on that even breath. I promise I'm keeping an eye on the time. Begin to breathe into places that are feeling a little pressure and exhale to relieve them. Mentally check in with the body. Keep those shoulders out of the ears. Use your breath as your tool to find this stillness. Everyone's doing beautifully. Now, we have the option to stay here. If this Feels like the nice mixture of balance and challenge for your body. I want you to stay here. But if you'd like to take a little bit more of an acute back bend, you're just gonna spread your fingertips where they're at on your mat. You're not gonna move anything about them. They're just gonna stay where they're at. And you're gonna press into the palms very gently to lift that upper body a little bit higher off the mat. We're not locking out the elbow joints. They still have a micro bend in them. The gaze is still lifted. You're looking forward, maybe at that candle or a focal point of your choosing. And you're just focusing on your breath. Move my neck so maybe it's a little bit better. We're keeping those shoulders down and out from the ears. The spine feels in line. From the base of the skull all the way down to the tailbone. Use your breath. You're building up that pressure in the body. That's okay. Direct your breath to places that feel pressure. Exhale through them. Not going to be here for too much longer. I know you can do it wherever you're at. If we're in our seal position here, I don't want you to move yet, but on your next inhale, just prepare your body for movement. Take a full breath cycle, even breath. And on that second exhale, you're just gonna bring the elbows back down to the mat and pause in your Sphinx where we all started. All of us now on our inhale are gonna prepare ourselves for movement. Don't move yet. Full breath cycle. On your second exhale, I want you to bring the gaze down to the middle of your mat, right in front of you. You're gonna stack your palms, let the elbows come wide, and use your palms as a pillow for your forehead. We're gonna pause in this mini belly shavasana for just a few breath cycles. Sphinx and seal can feel like a lot. For the back, for the shoulders. You did it. So come back to your breath. Keep directing it to areas that feel pressure. Inhale into them. Exhale to breathe through them. And when you are ready, you're just gonna bring your hands back underneath those shoulder heads. And on an exhale, just press the body back up to that tabletop position that we started in. If the wrists feel uncomfortable, we can come down to the forearms. And we're gonna take a couple more rounds of that cat and cow that we started with. Inhale, the belly button comes down. Exhale, you're gonna round the spine. Move at your own pace for 4 breath cycles, either on your forearms or on your wrists. After that 4th cycle, if we're on our forearms, let's come back to the wrists. They're right underneath the shoulders. I just want you to flip that right palm so our fingertips face towards our knees while we're on the mat. And we're just gonna bring each fingertip to the thumb and back again. Give that wrist a little relief, a little love. Same thing on the other side. Flip the left palm. Each fingertip comes to the thumb. Back again. Shake it out. And then however is most comfortable for you to come back to a seated position, that's where we're headed next. From the seated position, I want you to bring the soles of your feet together in front of you on your mat. So in our yang posture, we call this our Baddha Konasana, or our bound angle. And we bend and fold and stretch the body and prepare it for movement. We're still in our yin phase, so we're gonna come to our butterfly. So I want you to move your feet out a little bit further from your body so your legs make a diamond shape in front of you. Inhale to find that length in the spine, crown of the head reaches toward the ceiling, the shoulders come down and out from the ears. The gaze is gonna stay lifted. As on your next exhale, the heart is gonna come forward and you're just gonna bend forward towards the feet. Bend on your exhale until you feel like you can't bend any further, and this is just your natural end. Once you've reached this place, on your next inhale, I want you to come halfway out of it. This is where we're going to pause, in this halfway state. We're still sinking into those ligaments, the joints, and the fascia, all of the connective tissues. So we don't go as deep as in our yang positions. But we're gonna pause here for just a few moments. So our gaze is still on our candle or our focal point. The shoulders are down and out from the ears. Your breath is nice and even. If you're listening to music, let it just sort of wash over you. Use it to find that stillness here. Everyone's doing beautifully. Soften those elbows and those hands. If the chin has tucked down towards the chest, inhale it back up. Those shoulders stay down and out from the ears. Breathe into areas of pressure. And take the time to trust yourself that you know the difference between pressure and pain. Pressure is just how the body gets used to new phenomena, new ways of moving. Pain always means we go a little too far with the body and we come back out of it. Now in our yin butterfly, I don't want you to fight gravity either. So maybe gravity gently pulls the heart a little bit closer towards the feet, just a little bit. But we're still not trying to achieve that yang stretch and go all the way. Try to find that middle ground. Hands can be on the feet or come out to the side. And you're focusing on your breath. That nice, even breath. Inhale into those places that feel pressure, that are building some heat. Exhale, you've created some space to let that go. Just a few more breath cycles here. On your next inhale, don't move yet, just prepare yourself for some movement. On your exhale, just as slowly as we got into it, we can bring the body back up to a seated position. Oof, oof, oof. Let's slide our hands very gently underneath the knees. Guide them back together. Let's bring the hands behind the body, and we can windshield wiper the knees out very gently. Everyone's doing wonderfully with this. Whenever you're ready, we're going to come back to our old friend tabletop. So however's most comfortable for you to get there. Maybe you pause in this neutral tabletop. Maybe you take a few rounds of cat and cow. Whatever will feel really good to your body. And we have one more yin posture to go. Coming back to stillness in the middle whenever you're ready. Spreading those fingertips out again. Press into the fingertips to protect those wrists as we inhale to tuck the toes. Exhale, lift the hips up and back for your downward dog. Again, maybe you take the time to walk the dog out here. Find a little comfort. It's still okay if it doesn't feel that great to the body. And just coming back to stillness. I want you to inhale, very gently float that right foot high into the sky behind you. Inhale to gaze in between the hands, look where you're headed. On your exhale, as slowly and as gently as you can, you're just gonna step that right foot forward towards that right thumb. The left knee is gonna come down, the left toes untuck. Now I want you to take that right hand and move it on the inside of that right foot. So maybe you heel toe that right foot out wider than it usually is. And both of your wrists are still stacked underneath your shoulders here. Beautiful. We're coming to our dragon here. So in our dragon, our right knee is stacked over top of that ankle or slightly behind it. We're not going to go too far over towards the toes. The gaze is still lifted forward. You're looking at your candle or that focal point. The heart moves with the gaze. The heart shines forward. Shoulders are out of the ears. If the wrists are uncomfortable, you can come to your fists here with thumbs on the ground. And you're just going to focus on your breath to find that stillness. If you're doing this on like a hardwood surface and that back knee is really uncomfortable, you can try moving it in or further out, or you can always actually fold your mat and put your knee on top of the fold for a little extra cushion underneath it. Whatever works best for you. We're really getting into the hips, especially with this one. So direct your breath to wherever is feeling the most pressure. Exhale through it. If you're listening to music, let it calm you. But try to focus on your breath, on your even inhales and even exhales. Keep the shoulders out of the ears, the chin is out of the chest. Fabulous. On your next inhale, prepare for movement. Don't move yet. Full breath cycle. On that exhale, you're going to heel toe that right foot back in. Move the right hand to frame that front foot. Let's tuck the back toes. Very gently lift that left knee. And with an audible groan, I want you to float that right foot high to the sky and back down to meet the left. Fabulous. Maybe bring the knees to the ground. Untuck the toes and the hips over the heels for a child's pose. And you pause here. Bring those elbows down to the mat. Check in with the body, especially those hips. We've asked a lot of them so far. If our even breath has tiptoed away from us, bring it back. Focus on that. Reflect on your intention if you set one. We're trying to find a little bit of movement and a lot of stillness, but all within our parasympathetic nervous system. So by focusing on our breath, we're trying to come to that place of rest and digest and letting the body just sort of open up and let go of all of the tension of our day-to-day. When you're ready, we have one more side of dragon to do before we're done with our yin practice. Whenever you're ready and your body tells you it's time, we're just going to inhale back up towards our tabletop position. Maybe you take a couple rounds of cat and cow if that makes you feel good. But whenever you're ready, on an inhale, just tuck those toes. Exhale, lift the hips up and back for your downward dog. You know exactly where we're headed from here. Inhale, float that left leg high to the sky. Bring the gaze in between your hands first. On your exhale, as gently as you can, you're going to step that left foot forward towards that left thumb. Let's bring the right knee to the ground, untuck the right toes. Take that left hand, heel to that left foot out a little bit wider than usual, and bring both wrists underneath the shoulders. Beautiful. That left knee is over top or slightly behind the ankle. We're not going over towards the toes. The gaze is lifted, so is the heart. And you're just going to focus on your breath. I say this a lot when we practice in our physical space all together, but it's especially true now that we're all joining virtually. Your breath is not going to bother your neighbor. So I want you to make it as loud or as quiet as you'd like to make it. Direct it to those places that are feeling pressure. I know they're there. Inhale into them. Exhale to release. Our backs are nice and flat here, like our spine is in one line. So we're not hunching over. Our hearts are forward. Beautiful. Again, if the wrists are uncomfortable, we can come to our fists. If that back knee is uncomfortable, you can fold your mat over. Whatever you can do to find a little comfort in the middle of challenge. Use your breath. You're almost there. Finding that stillness. On your next inhale, just prepare the body for movement. Don't move yet. Take a full breath cycle. On your second inhale, let's heel toe that foot back in. Move the left hand to frame it. Inhale, tuck the back toes. Lift that right knee with another audible groan. You're gonna float that left foot high to the sky and down to meet the right. And again, let's bring both knees to the ground. Untuck the toes and the hips over the heels for a well-deserved child's pose. Maybe the hands come back behind the body, reaching for the heels. take another body scan. Just check in. Notice what it's doing. Notice how it feels. Maybe things in the body feel a little different from when you first stepped onto your mat tonight. Maybe they don't particularly. All of it is okay. But just use your breath to explore. Reflect on that intention if you set one. And when your body tells you it's ready, not a single second before, we're just going to inhale up towards that tabletop position. Maybe you take a couple rounds of cat and cow once you're there if they feel good to you. Maybe you just pause in your neutral spine. Wherever we're at, we're going to take 3 more breath cycles here. So even if you're not doing cat and cow, maybe you make some circles with the hips. Making sure to circle both ways. And when you're ready, everybody's going to come back to stillness. We're going to spread those fingertips wide. Inhale, tuck the toes. Exhale, lift the body up and back for your downward dog. Inhale, float that right foot high to the sky again. Bring the gaze in between the hands. Exhale, step that right foot forward towards that right thumb. Instead of bringing that knee down this time, we're going to inhale the body up and then pivot open towards your warrior 2. So that back heel is just going to come down towards the mat in a 90-degree angle. That back foot is about parallel with the back of your mat. Beautiful. Make the adjustments as you need to. Maybe your feet look like they're on one train track here. That right knee is over top of your ankle or slightly behind it and is tracking towards the right, not coming in towards the left. And then inhale, float both arms up to shoulder height. I'll move this back just a little bit. And sink into your warrior 2. We've opened our hips up to the side now. Notice what that feels like for your body. Flip both palms for me. Inhale, lengthen that front leg. Exhale, back down. Even inhale, straighten that front leg. Exhale, back down. Take a peek at that backhand. Make sure it's floating right at shoulder height. And then bring the gaze back over those front middle fingers. Flip both palms for me. Inhale up. Exhale, back down. This time, just flat, both palms out to shine towards the side. You're going to inhale, gently straighten that front leg. And then reaching forward, like you're reaching to shake someone's hand. When you can't reach any further forward, you're going to tilt. And just bring your fingertips to float on the inside of that right leg. Maybe they're up here by the calf, down by the ankle. Maybe the fingertips or the palm can even come down to the mat. But we're trying to keep our shoulders stacked and open to the side here. Beautiful. Just a few more breaths here. On your next exhale, just bring that front leg back towards bend. Inhale up to warrior 2. Last time, flip both palms for me. Inhale up. Exhale, back down. Cartwheel both hands back down to frame that front foot. Fly that right leg high to the sky, down to meet the left. Option for a vinyasa flow if you would love to take one. I want you to move slow with your even breath. Inhale forward, towards that plank position. Exhale, we can lower all the way down and take a cobra or an upward facing dog if it's in your practice. Inhale up to whatever you're taking. Exhale back down. Hands come underneath the shoulder heads. Inhale here, tuck the toes. Exhale, press the body up and back to your downward dog. We have one more side to go. So I want you to inhale, float that left leg high to the sky. Bring the gaze in between the hands. Very gently step that left foot forward to meet that left thumb. That back knee is going to stay off the ground this time. So we're going to inhale up and open to our warrior two. So that right foot becomes parallel with the back of the mat. Left knee tracks right over top of that left ankle. Inhale, float those arms out to the side. Beautiful. Flip both palms for me. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, back down. Take a peek at the feet. They feel pretty comfortable where they're at. They might be on one training track here. Flip both palms for me. Inhale up. Exhale, back down. Take a peek at that back hand. It's floating right at shoulder level. We're not letting it droop. Then the gaze comes back over the front middle fingers. Flip both palms for me one more time. Inhale up. Exhale, back down. This time the palms come out to the side. You're gonna inhale to just straighten that front leg. We're still not locking out that knee joint. There's a micro bend in it. And you're gonna reach forward like you're reaching to shake someone's hand. When you can't reach any further forward, you're gonna tilt. Same thing on this side. We're keeping those shoulders stacked no matter where the hand is. It can float here, at the ankle, on the ground, whatever works best for you. Maybe the gaze is down at the ground, or maybe it's up at that floating hand. Just a few more breath cycles here. On your next exhale, bring the body back up and bend that knee. Come back to warrior two. Last time, flip both palms for me. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, back down. Cartwheel those hands back down and frame that front foot and fly that left leg high to the sky and down to meet the right. Option for another vinyasa flow if you'd love to take one. Remembering that cat and cow is a beautiful option. Move with your breath. Inhale forward. Exhale all the way down or halfway. Inhale up. Exhale back. And then let's bring both knees to the ground, untuck the toes. Maybe the big toes come together and the knees come wide and you sink the hips back for a wide-legged child's pose. And you rest. So we combined a lot of different yoga together today. From the yin, where we sat in those connective tissues and just sort of opened them up a little bit, to our yang practice where we got to move with our breath and feel the muscles stretch and work. Come back to your breath, because now is a time where you're going to feel all of that. Come back to thank you. Your body will thank you for the work you've done for it, for putting it first. Come back to your intention if you set one. Draw a little more focus, a little more calm. Reflect on why that came to mind if you set one. Why that phrase, why that intention. If the mind has drifted away, bring it back just to the breath. Just focus on your inhales and your exhales. And when you are ready, and your body tells you it's time, we're just gonna inhale back up towards our old favorite tabletop position. Our wrists are stacked underneath our shoulders. Our knees are underneath our hips. We take a peek through our legs. We shouldn't be able to see our feet. Everything is in line. And now we're going to borrow this next stretch from our yin counterparts, but we're not going to be here for very long at all, I promise. So your hips are going to stay exactly where they're at, right over top of the knees. Your lower body is not going to move at all. I just want you to take a look at your hands and very gently walk the hands towards the top of your mat and bleed the heart down to the center of your mat. You can walk the hands out wide as well. The hips stay up over top of the knees, but the heart melts down. Maybe the elbows come down. You can come down to the chin or the forehead or a cheek, or maybe the head floats off the ground, but we're still here. Fingertips spread wide. So this is called Anahatasana, or melting the heart. You can wiggle those fingertips to remind them that they're still there. You can do the same with the toes, curl the toes. If you feel any tingling anywhere, you can feel free to come back. But again, we're not going to be here for too long. 3 more breaths here. On that third exhale, I just want you to press into the palms and just walk the body back up to your tabletop position. Oof. Maybe you roll the spine out, the hips and the shoulders. Fabulous. And then coming to a seated position on your mat, scooting towards the top so there's enough room to lay back down behind you. Maybe moving your candle out from where it is if it's at the very top of your mat, just in case you don't want to kick it over. And then I want you to plant your feet on your mat so your knees face up towards the ceiling like mountains. Hug the knees into the chest. Inhale to find that length. On your exhale, very gently, you're going to lean back until your arms are about straight. And the left arm can come out and the right arm can come out. And for a count of 10, we're all going to lean back with us. So for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, pause. Smile. Continue for 4, 3, 2, 1. All the way down. Hug those knees into the chest. Well done. You can make some big circles on the ceiling with your knees. You can rock along the length of your spine if you have no neck or spine concerns. Or you can just rock side to side. Give the lower back a little massage. Making sure if we circle one way, we also circle the other way. Now's the time for just total relaxation. So maybe you reach on the inside of your knees for the outside of the feet. That's the side of the feet with the pinky toes. And open those feet up to your happy baby. You can rock here as well. You can extend out one leg and then the other. It looks like we're stamping our feet on the ceiling. Maybe you even guide the soles of your feet together in a kind of a Supta Baddha Konasana or a butterfly on your back. What we did earlier, you can rock here as well, very gently. Just find what feels good to the body and go there. Maybe you just want to bicycle the legs out a little bit. Whatever works. Releasing those feet finally, hugging the knees into the chest. Flexing through those feet. I want you to bring the feet down to the mat, knees face up towards the ceiling. And then you're going to cross that left foot over top of the right quad. Flexing through that left foot as it's planted on the right quad. You're going to reach underneath the crossed leg for the back of that thigh and just hug the legs in towards the chest. If the neck is straining and our head is up, let's just bring it back down towards the mat and hug the legs in towards the heart. You can still use your breath here. Inhale to create some space, relax that stretch. Exhale to explore that space. See if you can hug the legs just a millimeter closer to the heart. And then once again, flexing through that right foot. Bring that foot back down towards the ground. Keeping your legs crossed though. You're just gonna let that left foot where it's at, crossed over the leg, come down towards the right and plant on the right. Arms can come out to a T or to cactus arms. Maybe the gaze comes over towards the left. And we just feel the twist in that lower back. Maybe in the hip a little bit. Inhale that nose back towards center. Exhale, the legs will follow. And then very gently uncross the legs, plant both feet where they're at on the mat. Maybe windshield wiper them to the left and to the right. We're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So coming back to stillness, we're planting our feet on our mat. This time we're going to cross the right foot over top of the left quad, or whichever one's opposite of the one you just did. Reach underneath that crossed leg for the back of the thigh and hug the legs in towards the chest. Use your breath here. Inhale, release the stretch a little bit. Exhale, see if the stretch wants to come just a millimeter closer. Very gently letting that foot come back down towards the ground, but keeping the right leg crossed where it's at. You're just gonna let that right foot come down towards the left and plant on the left. Arms can be at a T or at cactus arms. Maybe look over that right shoulder, but you just twist and enjoy it in the lower back. Inhaling that nose back towards center first. Exhale, the legs will very gently follow. You can uncross the legs. Windshield over them out side to side again. Or we can plant them where they're at and just heel to our feet so that we can feel the edge of our mat on the ground. So against the carpet or whichever surface you're on, and then let your knees come together in the center of your mat. Notice what that does for the lower back and the spine. Maybe from here, keeping your feet planted, you can just windshield over the knees very slowly together to the left and to the right. Slow it down even more. Inhale up to center. Exhale down to one side. Inhale up to center. Exhale down to the other side. Do this for 3 more cycles. At the end of your 3, inhale, hug those knees into the chest one more time. If there are any final asanas you would like to explore for your own practice, now would be the time to do so. But if you're ready for your Shavasana, you can just let those legs extend long on your mat. The toes can fall away from each other. The hands can come out to the side of the body. We like to say that palms can face up to collect energy or can face down to find grounding, whatever it is that your body needs today. Maybe the eyes close again. And you're just going to trust your mat and sink into it. Trying to clear the forehead, any wrinkles. Let the tongue fall away from the roof of the mouth. Maybe the mouth even opens. Let yourself relax completely. Very gently beginning to bring some awareness back to the body. Wiggling the fingers and the toes. Making small circles with the wrists and the ankles. Moving slowly. On an inhale, the arms can come overhead. You can point the toes, take a full body stretch as if you were just getting out of bed for the first time today. On your exhale, roll to that right side, using your bicep as a cushion for your head. Maybe the knees tuck in towards the chest in a fetal position, the place of our beginning. Come back to that intention for the last time all together. Let it go if it's served its purpose. Hold it in if you wish to draw more things from it. Reflect on how good it feels to put the body first, to let the breath choose how the body moves. Just take a moment to let the body thank you. You're ready. You're going to spread the fingertips on that left hand wide and just feel the connection between each fingertip and the ground in front of you. And on an exhale, you're going to press into that palm to come back to seated at the top of your mat, where we're going to end class all together. Once we're here, let's inhale those palms overhead to touch. We'll exhale them down the midline and pause at the forehead. Maybe think kind thoughts. We're going to pause at the lips. Maybe speak kind words. And we're going to pause at the heart. May we have kind intentions to ourselves and to those around us. Thank you all so much for sharing your practice with me this evening. May you all be happy. May you be safe and healthy. May you walk this earth with peace and at ease, and may you find the space to help others and to, very importantly, help yourself along the way. Namaste, you. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to